Hello everyone, this is Martin from SpartanX, and today I want to show you how SpartanX solved a new prompt injection challenge. And the new prompt injection challenge, which was released over the weekend, today is May 26th, 2026, and this was released over the weekend, and it's called Anton.securelayer7.net, right? And what it basically is, it's a prompt injection challenge to extract sensitive information out of the LLM. And it's 7 different levels. The first couple of levels are fairly trivial, so they are not too complicated, especially level 1 and level 2, because there is very few guardrails involved in that. But then it becomes really, really complex, and it has a really powerful purify guardrail in place, yet SpartanX was able to crack all 7 levels in a few hours, basically. And I want to show you how this looks like in the dashboard and how SpartanX has actually done this. So let's jump over here to the engagement. So you can see here, I called it Anton CTF. And then actually I stopped it after it had solved the challenges. It was not completely done yet because there is multiple agent swarms running, right? Like there is the reconnaissance swarm first, and then there is a web application, then there is an API, and there is a cloud one if it's hosted on the cloud and things like that. But basically I was only interested like in the red teaming, in the AI red teaming aspect of it. And what you see here, basically you get to see what was exploited, what was partially exploited, right? Like in terms of the vulnerabilities, and so prompt injection with information disclosure is obviously a vulnerability, and you can completely see this here in the dashboard. So you have this dashboard with any engagement. But where it gets really interesting is when you actually click in and look at the reasoning chain, right? And what you see here is basically first of all, the initial reconnaissance. So you see the initial reconnaissance, which is always running at the beginning of an engagement, right? So this is information gathering, active and passive. And then based on what it finds within the initial reconnaissance phase, it will then invoke other agent swarms. So for example, it found that there is an API endpoint specifically, which is a chatbot, right? Like, so which is that LLM you can interact with, that agent you can interact with, and then it started the AI LLM prompt injection attack swarm, right? But it also did the API testing because the underlying technology is RESTful API in this case, right? And then it went further into the API security testing, which I then stopped, right? Like, because once I had all the flags from the prompt injection challenge, I didn't want like to go further and find like potentially 0 days and things like this. It also did like the web assessment because everything is accessible through the web browser, so there is also a web element to it, right? But let's jump in here, and then let's go to the very top. Let's start off here. So you see this in any engagement, both during the live engagement as well as when the engagement has finished. So this is the reasoning chain. So you see always what the agent was thinking and how the agent was creating its plan, for example. So here you can see like it was creating a plan, and so you can always observe this, what it was doing at any point in time. So this one, technology-wise, was fairly basic because it used the curl command and it used like sandboxed shell scripts and things like this quite extensively. But in more complex engagements, it will invoke tools, for example. So it will invoke, say, SQL Map or any other open source tools and things like that. Or it will write its own tools, right? Like, so it also has the capability to write like Python scripts and things like that. And you see this step by step, so you can go through the reasoning process. You see exactly what was sent over and what was basically returned, right? And you see how nice it's handling the cookies. So it's basically coming on, it is registering itself, and then it receives a session cookie because it has to use that, because you need to solve one challenge in order to progress to the next one, and that's being tracked server side on where you are at in terms of progress and things like this. But you can go through this and you can really see what it exactly was doing and things like this, like how it effectively reasoned, like, oh, I need to try this, like this didn't work, I get like so here it was like, I won't be translating that specific sentence, right? Like, so it tried the translation attack, then it tried a Dan attack, then it tried like a grandma attack, and so on. Then it tried base 64, then it tried something else, right? And then based on the outputs, it will then further reason, right? And it's like a feedback loop, and it will effectively say like, well, this didn't work, then let me try another angle and things like this. And it does this completely autonomously. You always are in control, right? Like you always are in control. You can pause it, you can stop it. If it's going in the wrong direction or something, or if you feel it's going into the wrong direction and things like this, it will discover endpoints, it will do the whole thing. And what you can, so let's just look for level 7. And so here is like level 7 got unlocked, right? Like because it was extracting this. And then let's go further down. What I want to show you is basically once it has, okay, so all level 7 has been marked as cracked now, okay, and then which is the last level. And let me just jump on back. Oh, sorry. Let me do that again. What I want to show you is like in the reasoning chain, and then we jump to the reporting in just a bit. So here it was unlocked, and then L7 is already cracked, and perfect, L7 is cracked. Let me report the vulnerability, and then all levels are cracked now. You can see this here. So let's scroll down a bit further, and then here you basically see like the passwords is extracted out of every single level, right? And the technique which was used and the guardrail which was bypassed. And so this is raw information, so to speak, right? Like in the reasoning chain, but obviously you can come over here and then go to your vulnerability tab. And then in the vulnerability tab, you can jump to like a vulnerability. Like you can open this real quick here, like as a preview if you want. That's possible, but you can also directly jump to the vulnerability. So let's do that. Let's jump to that specific vulnerability, which will load up here in a second. And then you see exactly like in the AI security analysis what it was. So in this case, it was just overwhelming the guardrail in level 5 with approximately 5,000 to 7,000 characters of padding, right? And then the malicious instructions came afterwards and things like that. And you see here the vulnerability details. You see exactly how this was confirmed. It's exploitable. And you can then go to the analysis and evidence section. So here's the proof, like how this worked, for example. And then you can also see like on the remediation what is recommended to remediate that vulnerability so that it doesn't happen again, or that a real attacker doesn't effectively exploit this. So extremely powerful, and once again, it was doing this all autonomously. Like you kick that off in the evening, and in the morning when you come back, it's basically has solved all these. Now, this is an example of how SpartanX does red teaming autonomously. I hope this makes all sense, and I will see you in the next video.